Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor, I'm the man on the Silver Mountain, and welcome back. Now today I want to talk about something that happens an awful lot, especially online, and has been happening more and 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 more lately online with all kinds of things like news stories, with all kinds of stuff going on. And that's knee-jerk reactions, the reactions that people have that just have them lashing out or jumping to conclusions or flying out, throwing all logic and sense out the window in favour of just what matches up with what's in their head at the time that they hear the news. And this is a problem. It's a problem because we shut down conversations when we just assume, when we jump straight to that, oh, something's happened and it sounds like this to me, which is probably what it is, which means that I need to go and express myself about it. And that's a bit of a problem, shutting down those conversations before they've even started, as soon as news has broken, before solutions have been found or experts have been consulted or anything like that. We end up with these arguments happening, these outbursts, and it's always difficult to try and kind of back people down or talk them down, work them back into a decent dialogue after someone's flipped out or someone's kind of run off, and especially when it's both sides. When both sides have seen a piece of news, as we've seen with certain stories around, for instance, Alex Jones, which I have deliberately not covered, by the way, in terms of doing any commentary on it, because it's a load of bollocks, the whole thing. The guy's an arsehole, I don't care. But in that situation, you had the people who saw it and instantly latched onto it without seeing any other information about it, seeing what was going on, who was doing it. Just that once again, he was being no-platformed. And they grabbed it and they went, oh my god, bastion of freedom of speech, we need to go and support him and argue continuously in favour of what he's doing. On the other side, though, you had, no, he's an arsehole, and this is just him being an arsehole more, and their reaction was instantly to continue to condemn, to continue to drive him into the ground without looking at the situation, where the situation was a bit more complex because it was various different videos causing various different problems across various different platforms, interfering with various different sets of policies and guidelines. And so there was an awful lot wrapped up in it that really needed unpacking before you could really draw one line here or one line there. Another example from just this last week was the Serena Williams and the ruling made against her during the tennis. And again, I don't really care about tennis all that much. I don't really have a horse in this race either way. So looking at it, it's people crying sexism and racism and all that kind of thing straight off the bat for no reason, without examining the situation in full. And then the same for people who were trying to support it. They, within a day, when the story hadn't even properly broken yet, and it was just the basic headlines, basic overviews of the event transpiring, because it had been on TV, it was a big sporting event, all that kind of thing. Even before there had been discussion, even before you had people kind of setting up their battle lines and arguing about it, when there wasn't any information to properly argue about apart from what we saw on the court. It's insanity. And so, though, there is a really simple 4-step guideline that we can follow so that knee-jerk reactions become a thing of the past, so that we don't get taken in by those sudden responses and those sudden inclinations that we have on hearing news and draw us down that rabbit hole of fighting endlessly for the sake of fighting rather than actually trying to achieve results or find a solution or understand what's going on. So the first thing you need to do, guys, is really simple. Stop. Just don't do anything. You see it, you read it, you can feel what you feel, but don't act. No messages back, no flipping out, no ranting or raving. Just stop. Take a deep breath and chill. Nothing that you've just read in that headline, nothing that you have just heard from that person is going to immediately interfere or affect your life. If you're being told and you're being presented information like a news story, chances are, at the very least, that news story is going to persist for the next couple of days. You can absorb that information. In which case, the next thing that you need to do after you have stopped and taken a deep breath and relaxed and got that instantaneous feeling of wanting to react out of your system, just stop, just pause, you're fine. The next thing you need to do is wait. And what are you waiting for? You're waiting for more information. You're waiting for as much information as you can get in regards to who's involved, what's going on, why it matters, who it matters to, whether or not it makes any sense. All of those things, you wait for them. And then the next step is the tough step. The next step is the one where you're actually having to do some work. And that is, once you have waited and all of that information has become available, then you reflect on it. Read it all. Examine it all. Compare it. Compare different sources. I've said before in various videos, the way to not get taken in by stuff like fake news is to monitor various sources from both the left and the right, from authoritarian and liberal and kind of libertarian perspectives, from traditionalist and progressive perspectives, from completely moderate and unrelated perspectives, from all of those different areas. Just keep track of where that news is coming from, and don't just attach yourself. The number of people who in times gone by would be like, I only read this one newspaper. Nowadays, you don't need to do that. Firstly, the cost of a newspaper is irrelevant because all of the news is online. Secondly, 10 minutes on Google and you can find news sources from the left, the right, the up, the down, whatever. And so you can find all of that information there and you can go through it. You can read through it. You can find the comparative results. You can find what people are talking about. Almost every news site that posts an article now has a comment section underneath the article. Go and see what other people are saying, if they're bringing any more information to it that's been missed in the article, because let's face it, news sources these days are kind of crap. And so, go through it all, investigate it, find out what's going on, and then decide what you think. If you're someone that is very focused on kind of a justice mindset where wrongdoers need to be punished in every possible way, but then you're deciding on your own ethics and your own judgment that one thing is just, one thing is unjust, whether it's the law or not, then obviously certain news stories you're going to condemn wholeheartedly or uplift wholeheartedly. And so with that mindset, that viewpoint, which might be a little extreme for my own tastes, but there are lots of people that do go for very extreme ends of political and ethical and moral things. If you're in one of those situations, then once you've got all of the information, and not before, only once you've got all that information, once you've been able to weigh it all up, that's when you can, after that reflection and that comprehension of all of that information, do you then go and look to attach yourself to one end or the other of the situation. At which point then, that's when you act. Like in my case, with certain things, where the best example will probably be the Brexit, the Brexit referendum, which I've talked about several times on the channel. And the first thing, it was announced, and I was kind of skeptical. I was kind of, oh, this is stupid, but I didn't react to it right then. I went away and I waited and I reflected and I took on all the information. I read up all the reports and all the other things that I could find pre-referendum to make my decision, to make my choice. And the unfortunate thing is that as a result of doing that, that now left me less ignorant after the fact. And so all of the new information, all the new catastrophes that are being caused are no surprise to me. They are just demoralising in regard to this situation. And why I'm personally fully behind a people's vote, because a second referendum seems to be, I don't know, the intelligent thing to do, considering one side was found cheating during the last referendum, and it looks like this is going to destroy so much that we have worked for over the last, since the 70s. It's a mess. But in that situation, I stopped. I waited for more information to come out. I went through all of it from both sides, and then I acted. And the way that I acted was by making videos, talking to you guys about it, and actually voting, all that kind of thing. But that's the way. Those are the things to do. So stop, wait, reflect, or comprehend, think, read, whatever you want to put in there, and then act. Those are the 4 steps that you need to take to avoid a knee-jerk reaction that could leave you, quite frankly, up shit creek without a paddle. You know, it could leave you isolated. It could leave you in a bad situation. You could get fired for lashing out on a knee-jerk reaction over something that was completely innocuous and non-threatening. You know, there's a lot of stuff that could happen to you that could cause horrible rippling effects throughout the rest of your life, just because you didn't wait and you didn't keep your cool for just that little period of time just to get that extra information. And so, you know, I wanted to throw that out there today, just because it's something that, especially after the whole Serena Williams thing, which has blown up online, just kind of makes me roll my eyes. It's something that, you know, we need to keep track of for ourselves more than anyone else. You know, don't start getting into fights, knee jerking over stuff. But I'm lucky that some of my friends will come to me and want perspective and talk to me when they first hit something that's kind of pulled the carpet out from under them, or that's caused them a knee jerk reaction. And then I'll sit there and ask questions, and I'll look it up myself, and we'll have a read through it. And, you know, I'm lucky that my friends are, even if they're feeling that knee-jerk reaction, that they really just want to lash out or do something or say something or whatever, a lot of them will take their time to just kind of have a conversation first. And so as a result, you know, where you've got someone like me who's used to asking questions and at times finds it quite hard to take the coaching hat off, you know, it's a moment where we can actually both grow from them introducing me to a subject or me introducing them to a different perspective that actually helps the situation settle in their mind a bit better, so that they're not looking to lash out, they're not looking to say and do stupid things or uninformed things or things that, quite frankly, don't make sense to the situation. Like the number of people calling sexism and racism. Well, the woman that was across the court from her was the same race and gender as she is, and she wasn't penalised. And then her coach admitted to trying to coach her. And there's an argument there to be had in regards to whether it's the coach that should be penalised rather than the player and stuff like that. Fine. But then on top of that, her further reaction was negative. And people have gone, oh, but John McEnroe hasn't been on the court and flipped out like that for a long-ass time. And the world has changed. Rules have become more stringent. Rule books have been written and rewritten. The chap who was on the court as the ref for that situation is apparently known to be a stickler for the rules, and apparently is very well regarded for it. And yet, is there any situation in that ref's career that can be highlighted as him letting someone else off? Because it was one person's decision and then backed up by the organisation supporting the rules as writ. This isn't as big a problem as it could be. It's one person having an unfortunate day and maybe getting a bit too stressed out and taking out on the wrong person at the wrong time, and that person retaliating in a way that they were fully allowed to do. That's the way that this all panned out. It's not this big sexist, racist daftness that it's been made out to be, and yet it's been made out to be that because people have just seen what was there on the surface and reacted. And as a result, we've got these big conversations that could very well happen, but at the same time, you know, they're off kilter, they're off focus. The focus should be around her being penalised for her coach's actions rather than, you know, just her being penalised because the rules, you know, because that's what the rules are there for. There are lots of facets to that. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't other areas of tennis, for instance, that could very well be pulled up as this is maybe a bit outdated, bit outmoded, somewhat sexist. But at the same time, you know, there's that element of that's a different conversation, though, from this specific incident this specific instance that transpired here. So, you know, there's that. But anyway, as said, 4 things to do: stop, wait, reflect, and then act. Simple, easy, straightforward, and so as a result shouldn't be a difficult thing to achieve, guys. But otherwise, thank you very much for watching. I'll leave it there. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your stories, and other experiences. But otherwise, thank you very much, and I will see you in the video later. Take care. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video or found it interesting, then please drop us a like, share this video, and subscribe for more. And I'll see you in the video later. Take care.